Welcome to the IHC Craft Room. I'm Mary, and I'm so glad you're here for another round in my Spooky Season Live series. Every project in this series has a little Halloween spirit and a lot of creative fun, and tonight is no exception. We're going to be crafting together in real time for about 2 hours. So grab your supplies, get comfy, and let's make something amazing. This project is totally beginner friendly. So even if you've never tried anything like this before, you're in the right place. If you want to follow along with the exact image I'm using for the Grim Reaper design, the link to the downloadable is waiting for you right in today's video's description. So feel free to pop into the chat and say hi, or let me know what you're working on. I'll be looking up every so often to answer questions and check in. So don't be shy. Okay, let's get started because I'm super excited. I really love this image, and I've never actually made a mandala with an image in the center before. So this is a new project for me as well. But we're going to be using some tried and true techniques that I've used before, and hopefully you've seen before. So I'm using a variety of acrylic paints. These are all Deco Art craft paints that I picked up from Dollarama, and I've probably had for way too long. And I also am using a 7.5-inch wood round that I picked up from Dollarama for $2.50 a long time ago. I don't remember when, but that is what we're going to be using. So let's get started. You, of course, can use any colors you like, but I chose to use a light gray to dark medium gray. I don't know. What color is this? Gunmetal gray? This is the color I chose for my background. And today I'm actually going to be working with my dotting tools. However, I do have some like household items that we can use in place. So if this is something that you'd want to try with items around the home because you don't have a dotting set, then I would suggest you use things like this. So this is my little bundle pack that I keep for this purpose of, a pencil, the backs of some paintbrushes. I use those very, very often. This number 2 pencil eraser is a nice size. And then there's always things like, skewers, wood skewers, and toothpicks and whatnot. So have a look around your house. I'm sure you'll find some cool stuff to use. But today I'm going to actually use my dotting tools, which I haven't done in a while, so it'll be nice. Okay. So I'm going to move this aside, and just for transparency's sake, I have this elevated off of my workstation so I can move it around. It's sitting on top of a little flower pot. Okay, very fancy over here. So the first thing we're going to do is sharpen my chalk pencil. Actually, I don't need to sharpen it. What we're going to do is turn this over, and we're going to color all around this drawing anywhere we can with this chalk pencil. Last time I did this, I missed a big portion. So we're going to try to do better than Mary from the past. I really love using this technique. I'm going to run out of... Look how cute my sharpener is. It's a little heart. Look, okay. Focus, Mary. Oh, see, this is why I try not to sharpen them too much, because chalk pencils do like to break. Okay, let's focus. This is a really cool Grim Reaper image. I got it from Canva, which is an awesome application to use. They have a really good free version as well if you don't have the dollars to pay for the premium. Lord knows I use a lot of free versions of everything for that reason. Okay. I mean, at this point, I basically doused it in chalk. So if I don't have this covered, I don't know what to say. Okay, next I'm going to cut it out so that I have a better visual on where it's placed in the center of my wood round. Again, this is a 7.5-inch wood round. I'm hoping to put this image in the center and then do at least one rim, like one round one circle of mandala dots. So we'll see. Possibly 2. I mean, if I have the room for 2, I'll take it. Man, I had to cut really close to this today, right? It was a little bit nerve-wracking near the end there, not gonna lie. Okay. Yeah, I am that girl. I had to cut that off because it bothered me. Okay, here we go. So now let's try to get to the center. Okay, so obviously, if you've been here before, you know that I don't really stand on a lot of pomp and circumstance. If it's a little bit lower here than it is here, I don't really care. Like, it's not a big deal to me. I'd like it to be close to the center, as close as would look normal. If you're eyeballing it, I feel like that's the middle. That's good enough for me. Okay. So now I'm going to go ahead and use this transfer technique. I'm going to use one of my dotting tools, and we're just going to go ahead and outline everything and press down with like a, I don't know, I want to say like a medium pressure. The most important thing is to remember where you started so that you don't miss anything. This technique works really, really well. It can give you quite a lot of detail and definition and will help to really get this image transferred almost perfectly. Okay, what happened to this rod? Let's go here. Okay. So we're going to be doing dot painting this whole time. I'm going to talk from time to time, but not a ton. When I have something specific to say, which is, I have a lot to say most of the time, so let's be real. But that's the beauty of dot painting, is it's very zen. It's very chill. I think I'm going to do it. Like this level of definition, these really sharp edges and stuff, I'm probably not going to stress myself a lot about that much. At the end of the day, you just want the general image to transfer over. And we're going to be doing this with dots all the way around. There's not going to be no brush strokes or anything. So, okay, I think I got that whole section. I just need to do this now. So, you know, we'll make it look nice. But it doesn't need to look identical. I feel like I got all of this now, but I'm not 100% sure. This is actually a really detailed image in comparison to images I've done in the past, which means that there's more potential for it to become messy, in my opinion. So this is why it's best to embrace right from the jump that we're not going to make this as perfect. Say perfect again, I dare you. And instead, we're just gonna get the gist of it. I'm sure it'll be just as scary. But that's a lot of definition in the skeleton's face. I'll be very surprised if I can get that level of definition, but we'll see. Some of these tools of mine make the tiniest of dots. It's not so much the tools, it's the fact that I don't have that level of precision. Okay, I think I already did this part, but I'll do it again. This part takes quite a while to do. But you know, I find that's the case with everything dot painting related. There is slow satisfaction to dot painting. You get the satisfaction of the Zen motions, of the repetition. But then you also get this gradual build of a pattern that's really satisfying. It's like checking something off of a checklist, you know? That feeling of, oh, that's done. I finished that row, check mark. It's very dopamine-y. Okay. So like this is mostly to give me a bit of a guide so I can do what I want again. Like I don't know. I hope. I really haven't done one this detailed before. So we'll see how that goes. Okay, I think I got all of this part now. Actually, I don't remember doing this. Okay. The number one thing I'm going to need to do is make sure I have this image close to me the whole time so that I can, hi. I'm not saying hi. My hand is getting a little numb. That's what the carpal tunnel. That's what carpal tunnel will do to you, man. Okay. I think that part's done. I'm going to do this part. Now, the last time I did this, I remember thinking, why don't I just use a pen? Because if I use a pen, then I'll be able to see on the image what I've traced and I won't forget anything. But then I'm going to make this image look nasty. And I like having it as a reference point, even if I'm not going to do it exactly the same way. Okay. All right, face now. Yeah, this is a great skull face. Man, I wish I could draw. What a wonderful talent to have. Like you could literally, all you need is like a pencil and a piece of paper and you could be amused for hours. I should really try to learn how to draw. I have to start pressing down so hard. That's what's making my hand hurt so much, I think. I feel like this is going to be really messy. These teeth are going to be the worst. Wow, wow, wow. My life's so hard. Okay. Let's try. Oh. That went surprisingly well. We'll see how it holds up. Okay, I think this is all I have left There's a word for this thing. I have read it with my eyeballs. I believe I said it aloud at the time. I don't remember the word. Nope, don't remember. So if you remember and you want to share in the comments, I'm all for it. Remind a girl. It's not a scepter. That's what a king or queen or something holds. It's not a trident. That's what the king of the sea or the head of the mermen, the mer people at Hogwarts. I really do have a talent for turning pretty much anything into a Harry Potter reference. It's really quite cringy, and yet pretty proud of it. All right. Oh, that's getting sloppy. It's getting sloppy because I'm losing my patience. That's why. And I want to be done this part. But being sloppy isn't going to help you, Mary. Okay. I do believe I did all of this. I think we are now repeating ourselves here. But that's okay. It's just that once you take this off, to have to line it up again later is quite the pain in the butt. Okay, here we go. Not bad. I'll take it. I'll take it. Does anything need to be touched up? No, I think it's pretty good. All right, cool. So that's step number 1. Now, step number 2 is we are going to draw our circle because we need to do that before anything else happens. So you really need to work with me, chalk pencil. Please don't break. That'll do. That's long enough. I got this compass set. I know it's going to be hard for you to believe, but I got it from the dollar store. What? I bought something at the dollar store? No. Okay, where do I think the middle is? Let's see. If I go like that. Okay. Let's do it. So the key to chalk pencils, in my opinion, get a decent one. This is a General's chalk pencil. I got it from Michael's. And then be gentle with the way you press. I'm going to put a few circles. I'm not sure. I have no plan for this design whatsoever, other than the Grim Reaper was going to be in the center. So now we are flying by the seat of our pants, friends. So strap in. So what was I saying? Don't press hard with your chalk pencil because that's going to make it a lot more difficult to erase the lines later. I'm thinking I won't do another row because it's unlikely. Yeah, this is not in the middle. Very clearly not in the middle. There is a significant amount of space here. I don't really care. Yeah, I don't really care. So, should I care? Yeah, no, I don't really care. Sorry, if you're a perfectionist and you want to adjust, please, by all means, do erase, adjust, and go for it. But I'm going to live with the extra space and I'm going to make it work. So we're going to start with black outline, because that will give definition to everything and it'll make it a lot easier to have the definition, and then it'll dry pretty quickly because we're going to use a really small. Anytime I do an outline, I try to go to a really small dotting tool, because it really does make it look like an outline as opposed to, a bunch of dots. It gives it more of that it's a line kind of look. Okay, we're going to get started. I'm literally going to outline every single part of this in black. So here we go. Oh, you know what? I did miss a little spot here. There's that, and then there's supposed to be another little line there. Oh, well, I'll do it freehand if I remember when I get there. Here we go. Oh boy, are these small. That's good. That's a bit bigger. So let's talk a little bit about dot size for a second. How do you get 2, 3, or 4 dots that are the exact same size? Well, you have to refill your dotting tool between every single dot. That is the only way you can keep it uniform. Otherwise, if you do what I'm doing, you will get like a walk the dots type of look, which means the first dot is bigger and every dot thereafter gets a little bit smaller and a little bit smaller. Because the paint runs out. So really, I should be dipping my dotting tool back into the paint over and over again while I'm doing this. But I don't care to do that. I like the walk the dots look. I like the gradient look. I think it gives it some extra texture and movement that it wouldn't have if all the dots were uniform in size. This is my personal philosophy. If you disagree, oui. C'est bien. I know very little languages. Just enough to get myself in trouble when I'm on vacation by making it seem like I know what I'm talking about and I don't know what's happening. Okay, do I want to start filling this in or do I want to do the full outline? That's a good question. Based on how big this image is and where I can rest my finger, and I can do it without touching his big pointy knife, I am okay just doing the outline. If I wasn't going to be able to reach into the inside of the image, then I would stop at this point and start filling in this section next, because I'd be scared that I would accidentally touch something I don't want to. Having said that, these dots are very small and I'm using a very small amount. So this is going to like dry super duper quick. Like these ones are already dry. So I said I wasn't going to talk much, but I am because I'm a rambler. What I could have done differently here was measure the center point and then drawn my circles first and then put my image in the middle with the chalk pencil. So good thing that Mary from the present thought of it rather than Mary from the past. Super helpful, Mary from the present. Not even a little bit. But in the future, we live, we learn. We laugh, we learn. We cry. Oh, Alanis Morissette. I love her. Alanis Morissette. A Canadian to be proud of. I used to love singing her song, You Oughta Know. What an angsty song. So well written, so beautifully sung. And can you believe it's Joey from Full House, Uncle Joey, that she wrote it about? David Coulier, I think his name is. Like, really? That much angst over that much vanilla, huh? All right, hey. Go ahead with your bad self. Let's see. So, just to let you in on the way my brain works for fun, just for fun, because I'm talking about Full House, the soundtrack that ever plays within my inner monologue just started playing the song Forever that Uncle Jesse wrote for Aunt Becky's wedding. Oh no, I'm so very not in my 20s anymore. That's for sure. Yeah, man. I know a lot of the lyrics of that song, which is odd because it's not like I saw that episode that many times. We didn't have Netflix back then. You couldn't replay things. It was like, you catch it when it's on and hope for the best. And if you miss an episode, you better hope you understand the next one. What's going on? That's probably why they did so many recaps. Whatever. I think I should stop that now because now I'm doing the inside and I don't want to do the inside. I want to do the outline. Okay. I almost turned that into a blob because I was being impatient. What do I want to do next? I don't want to fill in any of the black on this blade because I feel like I'll end up, it'll be harder to do the silver. I think I'd rather do the silver first and then I'll come back with the black and cover up the silver if I need to. Which is a big dot painting no-no. You're not supposed to cover your dots unless it's a top dot or something. I don't care. I do what I want. Yeah, I'm a dot painting rebel, guys. What? Lock up your nobody. So what do you do when you dot paint? Do you sit in silence and deep breathe? Let things play around in your head and maybe mull over a problem that's been nagging at you that you haven't had the time to think on? Do you put on a podcast? Maybe listen to an audiobook? put on some music. I normally do a combination of all of those things. It all depends on what my current obsession is. Is it true crime podcasts? Well, then I'll be listening to those. Is it a Harry Potter run? Well, I'll be listening to my audiobooks. Maybe I want to listen to something different. Check out what my local library has to say. Want some tunes? My girl Tay Tay just dropped a new album. So I'm just saying, there's a lot of good things. But unfortunately, I can't play any of those while doing a live unless I want to be sued or copyrighted or banned or some kind of nonsense. Some kind of stuff I just don't want to be dealing with. So instead, I'm listening to the radio that plays inside my head. Which is still streaming forever from Uncle Jesse, in case you're wondering. All right, we are doing really well here. I'm going to go ahead and do this sleeve and then this part of the hand, and then the full outer outline will be done. And we can start moving to the inner part. I know I'm dotting something that's like Halloween-y right now, and it is still mid-October. But I'm kind of looking forward to Christmas music this year, which is not something I generally say. And I'm pretty sure if my husband could hear me, he'd be like, "What? Who are you talking to? What are you talking about?" I normally hate Christmas music because I was always in the choir growing up. Mary loves to sing. And so you wouldn't just be singing Christmas carols for, the month of December. You'd be singing it for like time leading up to it, which I found nauseating. There's only so many times you can sing the same song over and over and over again. And then I worked in retail when I was a teenager, and they would play Christmas tracks for the whole 8 hours that you're working your shift. Oh no, look what I did. Now I'm playing Happy Holidays from NSYNC in my head. Oh, that is not good. That is a major earworm, that song. When I was a teenager and I was working in retail, I had a boss. What was her name? I think her name was, maybe I shouldn't say. Okay, I'm not going to say. But she was beyond obsessed with NSYNC. And how old would I have been? 16 or something. So I would have been in the mid 90s. And so if you were on shift with her, you were listening to the NSYNC holiday album for the entirety of your shift. And I know every word to every song because of her. Okay, I'm going to be careful about the fingers. I mean, the bones of the fingers, because this whole section is messy. And I want to be careful. So I'm going to do the white first on that, and then I'll come back and fill in the black where needed to provide a little definition if possible. Because I can already see I missed the hand bone here. See? Okay, so we're going to fill that in a little bit. Okay. All right, I'm going to start trying to fill this in a little bit more on all of these clothing folds. Something you have to always consider is when there are these really narrow like valleys where you're probably going to put some color in there. It's worth leaving it empty and not dotting the black outline and doing it later if you want to, because once you've laid down a dot, there's no way to wiggle that little tiny red dot in there then after. It's going to be kind of not easy. So I'm going to try to like leave gaps. Like that line must be a mistake. So I'm going to leave that. Okay, that'll do. Oh, shoot. Do I want to clean that up? No, I'm going to leave it. So I actually dotted 2 dots together. So I've made a bit of a blob. It is blobby. Let me introduce you to blobby. Oh, the things that amuse me is quite pathetic. But I don't care. It's kind of hard to do this like fringe here. Just looks like a mess of dots, really. That's all right. That was the point I was making earlier about this definition on these really intricate designs like this. I'm sure you could get a lot of definition if you were a precise human being with very steady hands and even smaller tools than this. But I don't stress myself about stuff like that. To me, dot painting is supposed to be relaxing, very meditative, and fun. If I'm not enjoying it, why am I doing it? Is a better question, right? But it turns out I am enjoying it, so that's why I'm doing it. Okay. We are in good shape here. Everything I've already dotted except for this last little section right here that I just did is completely and utterly dry. I could easily erase all of my chalk lines. And I will in between when I can, because I really do love having them gone. It gives you a much better perspective on what needs to get done and where you want to put things and how everything works in relation to each other. Okay, so that is like that. And then this is what, black over here. Yeah, see, this is all just like color. So this would be black here. So I'm going to make this cloak burgundy because I like the way that looks. However, I don't have a burgundy paint. So we're going to have some fun trying to mix a color that I actually like, because I'm not good at mixing colors. But I looked up online what the combo should be. And we're going to give it a whirl. And see if we can get ourselves a nice burgundy. I made another blob. Blobby, you have a friend. It is your twin, Blobberoo. Blob and Blobberoo. Your parents are not very creative in their naming, which apparently is me. Luke, I am your father. Okay, stop. Oh my god, I made those tots the tiniest. Can't even see them. This is getting messy over here with all these black dots, but I think there's enough definition that I'm actually seeing the shoulder pretty well. Okay. I'd say that section's good. I'm going to move on to his face, which is what I've been kind of dreading to do. The face, not so bad. It's the hand. I'm going to end up doing the hand last. I'm scared of the hand. The hand just seems very... unnecessarily dramatic is all I'm saying. Okay. Okay, good. Let's do your fudge. I'm really not sure how I'm going to be able to define these teeth. It's asking a lot out of the level of definition I can get this way. So we'll see how that goes because they're really teeny tiny. For some reason, the eyes never transfer beautifully. They always have a bit of a wonky look to them. It's okay. The nose is always hard to do on a skeleton too. Or on a skull, rather. Because it's always like this, I don't even know what you call that. Upside down something. Triangle. They gave him a little bit of eyebrow here. Which is asking a lot out of somebody who doesn't. You're supposed to be just bone, bro. Why you got eyebrows? Bone brows. Okay. I really don't know what to do about the mouth. I'm going to try. Can I use something even smaller? Let's see. I usually use this to pop bubbles because it's so incredibly fine. Let's see. Oh, it's not even showing me a dot. I can't even see that. I'm way too elderly for that. Okay, we'll come back to you. Do the line across the middle. Okay. I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. We'll do white first, and then I'll figure out how to define it afterwards, I guess. So, same with the hands. I'm going to leave it until I can put white. So let's do a little bit of the inside of the shirt then. Jeez, I almost flung it. Oh, Mary. Okay, I made another little blob there. So far, that's 3 blobs. That's not bad considering how many dots I've put down that did not blob. Statistically, I'm very much ahead in the blob-free department, in case anybody's keeping track on the blob counter or something. Okay, that's good. I'm feeling a little shoulder roll right now. We're about an hour in here, which is a lot of hunching over something. Okay. So this is part of the silver. I don't want to touch that. The only thing I want to draw in here is that line down the center. I feel like that it makes sense for that to be in place. Okay. That's really good. I'm really happy with that. I think I might do that black line here so that I don't lose sight of it. And then the only things I'm not going to outline right now are going to be the teeth and the 2 hands so that I don't lose my chance to put white in. I think that's good enough. Okay. So because of that, I guess I should do the white first so that I can try to define the hands and the teeth. That is plan number 1. Okay. Okay, let's move on to a little bit of white. So we can make sense of Oh boy. Okay, I'm going to start with the hand. Okay. One, two, three, four. That's 5 fingers. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'll go back to it and decide if I want to fill in a few more bits of white before I put in black to make definition around them. You know, I should have actually upped the size of my dotting tool. That would have made this a little easier, I think. Okay, so you can tell. Now, how do I show that that's a thumb? Let's see. That might actually just be enough right there. Yeah, that actually did make it look like a thumb. Sweet. All right, these teeth are going to be a good time. So let's get that out of the way because it's stressing me out. I think I'm going to fill in the head first a little bit. So now for this, because we're trying to fill in an actual color, I'm going to go up a bit for a couple of dots in terms of size. Okay. I'm going to kind of let those dry a bit before I come back. And fill in more white later. I'm going to be very interested to see how much definition I'm able to achieve later once I start, adding in the extra dots to kind of complete the look. Okay. I still don't know what to do about the teeth. I don't think there's any way to show proper definition. So I think the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get the same size dot all the way across so that they look like little chiclets. Okay. Now I do have that black line in the middle that I'm trying to be respectful of. I mean, it's not that bad. Once I fill it in a bit. Okay, I would say I wish I hadn't put in these white dots here because now they're going to take a little longer to dry. They're a little bit bigger. And I want to erase all of these white lines. So we're going to be a little brazen and we're going to erase away from there. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Now, this is a chalk pencil. So really, I think a wet Q-tip would do the job here as well. But I always feel like there's a lot of residue from that. I almost touched the wet dots. Honestly, you should really almost wait to do this until the very, very end. But I'm dying to see what it looks like now, and I won't be able to understand. My brain will not comprehend. I'm going to fill that in later with black. That's why it's always good to keep your image with you so that if you erase something that you actually needed, you'll have something to refer to. So before I do a final top coat on this after completing the design, I will once again come with my eraser and make sure that I haven't missed anything or forgotten anything, because once you put in your sealer, it's there for eternity. And that will make me an angry girl. Very good. I'm very pleased with that. Quite a lot of definition. And lots of messy. Should use a paintbrush actually. Those dots around the face are still a little wet. It's these ones right here that I'm going to be careful of. I'm not going to erase that yet. I might not be able to erase it at all because of those. I mean, not at all. I mean, when I'm done. When I'm done, I'll erase them. But maybe not during this point. This is a dry paintbrush, in case you were wondering. It's easier than me with my hands. Never thought of it sooner, but better late than never. bad, not too bad. I am actually going to try to get in here a little bit now. It's pretty dry. And what if I'm wrong? What will happen is I will smear the paint. And I'll have to fix it. I mean, not too bad. He looks like he's got like 14 layers of teeth at this point, but we'll see. You'd be surprised what a little fill-in after the fact will do. Good. Bueno. Me gusta. I touched it. One of those dots is a little irate, but it's okay. We'll be friends eventually. Okay, good. Okay. That's bueno. Now I'm going to actually move on to making my burgundy paint so that we can start working on his cute little outfit. He's wearing the cutest little hoodie and this lovely burgundy jewel tone. Well, I choked myself really well. That was fun. Luckily. Okay. So we're going to start with Christmas Red. Boy. You choke on a little bit of water and I tell you, it's like the end of the world. Okay. So Christmas Red. And I put about that much in. Then we're going to do a tiny drop of burnt ember. Which is basically brown. Well, it made a bubble. So it makes it look much more than I actually thought. And then we're going to put in some peacock blue, which I call TML blue, which is Toronto Maple Leafs blue. Go Leafs, go. Okay, here we go. I'm going to use my... Oh, we're going to see how this turns. Not too bad. All right. We're headed in the right direction. It's a little too... Actually, it's not bad at all. Do I want to leave it this color? I think I want it a tiny bit darker. Oh, Mary. You know what happens in these situations? Then you end up with too much. Solo un poquito. Solo un poquito. I'm pretty happy with that. I might do a little bit more blue. All right. I'm going to make it a little bit more purpley, like leaning into like a wine. Yeah, I like that. That is me gusta, mi piace, oui, oui. Okay, so let's throw that in the garbage. And we'll tidy up a little bit, and I'm going to get started on his Kill Alpha. All right. So this whole section is supposed to be black, and it's just really rimmed in burgundy for the most part. That's interesting. Okay, so I'm going to actually start along the base here because it seems to me that that whole trim is Mon Ami Burgundy. So I'm using a 1.0 millimeter. Oh my God, I never talked about that from the beginning. This is the smallest one I have. It's a 0.8 millimeter. That's what I did for the whole trim. And I think I'm going to do one for this because I need to be able to seize adults. So I broke rule number 1 of mixing your own paint, as far as I know, which is you should be testing it on a piece of paper and letting it dry to actually see what the color is going to be, because it's not obvious when it's wet. It's going to dry a bit darker. Oh, well. Isn't that supposed to be hands there? Yeah, that was supposed to be white there. You know what? Let me do that real quick so that I don't get lost. This is supposed to be white, I think. Yeah, that makes more sense. Okay. That's good. You scoot. So the key to this type of dotting, in my opinion, is, well, like any kind of dotting, it's patience, obviously, because we can't be impatient at all points of dot painting. But the key is to come back when things are dry and fill in the gaps. That's the key, in my opinion. All right, that's looking good. This whole part is going to be burgundy. And then along that line, I think. Mm-hmm. Okay. That whole section is going to be black. And then right around in here needs to be all burgundy. So I'm just going to go finish off the trim here. Then we'll come back in and do that. Yeah, so all of the fin basically. Fin, tail. What is this? I don't know. What is this called? It's part of his lovely ensemble. All right. Almost lost track of what I was doing. All right. That looks good. Now I'm going to go around the whole edge there. At this point on this section, I think like right around here, anything that's not already black, you know what, maybe I should go back and fill in the black now. No, this is going to be black. This in here is going to be black. This is all going to be burgundy. So let's fill in that burgundy. I just don't want to lose sight. That looks great. Me gusta. I would say also and around there. Okay. I would say the rest over here is going to be black. Yeah. So let's keep going around the edges here. I'm trying to put bigger size dots wherever I can. This is a really small design, so it's not going to be as easy to get that. I love usually using like multiple sizes of dots in this kind of thing because it gives it a lot of dimension, and I can't really do that with this. Yeah, this is drawing to a nice burgundy. So that worked out really nicely. I'll try to get a little bit more paint on my tool to get a bigger dot. That looks really cool. I'm actually going to mirror this line. Yeah, that looks good. Okay, let's go on the other side of his little chapeau here. I got to be careful that I don't touch my wet dots, which I'm really good at doing. That's cool. Okay, let's do the shoulder. Basically, I'm just going to outline it again, but in burgundy this time. You know what? My brain doesn't understand the way it looks when it's like that. Why aren't you taking color the way I want? That part has to stay black. Okay. I think we will pause on burgundy for now. We're at about an hour and 40 minutes right now. And I'd say we're probably about halfway done. So there is a very good chance I will do another live tomorrow night at 7 p.m. so we can finish this. Or come close to finishing it. I'd like to finish it. What should we do next? Let's go back to that black because it helps define so much. I'm going to check how thick it's become. It's been sitting here for a while, so the paint might be a little too thick to use. We'll see. Nope, it's good. Okay, so here we are going to put some bigger dots because I know this is all black now. This is black as well. I made a huge blob there. That's like 3 in a row that bled together. Which I could have tried to fix with a Q-tip because there's not a lot of wet stuff around it. A few things. But I could have probably handled it and cleaned it up. I don't normally do that though. I like the blobs. I think they add the character. Okay, so on this handle, most of it is black. Oh boy. Oh boy, how did I get myself so dirty? You always got to be careful what's on your hands when you're dot painting, because it does not take much for things to go off the rails. See? What is happening right now? Off the rails. And that's how you end up with paint in places you don't want it on your artwork. Okay. Now that everybody's gotten their stuff back together, I was working on the hand before all that nonsense happened. That's great. Okay, so where else do I need black here? I think that's pretty much it. A tiny bit up here. Okay, so I'm gonna let all that black dry, and then we'll go back and fill in the dots later. Next, let's work on the handle of this thing, whatever it's called. Saber, scepter. It's not called either of those things. Spire, sires. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going to stop talking because I'm just making a fool out of myself. Okay. Okay, that's all metal. So this is supposed to be brown. And then the handle. So this is silver because it's part of the whatever. Oh, hey, Mary. That means I ruined my black because I just dipped brown in it. It's a good thing I noticed, or I would have been pissed. Okay. I feel like that's as far as I can go with that for now. Good. Now we're going to use Silver Morning. And I managed to drink my water without killing myself this time. Look at me, I'm a big girl. Okay, we're going to start with some big lady dots. This is a 2mm stylus. This is how I usually like to fill in these kinds of designs, because now these varying sizes of dots are very intriguing. Okay, we're getting to the spot where we can't use that anymore. The tops of each of these stylus tools, I believe, is a 1.25 size. And all of them are the same. So they're all the same size. Okay. Sickle? Is that what it's called? Okay. I'm going to let those guys dry. I'm going to go back in with some black now. But since I mixed brown into my black accidentally, we'll start a new black. I'm going to go for my smallest tool again, because now what I'm going to do is try to fill in so that it doesn't look so blotchy. Then you're just going to see a pack of black. Pack of black dots. So when I do this fill-in part, this is where I truly expect a lot of overlapping dots, where I'm going to accidentally dot on top of a dot I did before that's already dry. I don't particularly care. It's never been an issue to me. If it's an issue to you, you have my condolences. Because for me, these little oopsie imperfections is what makes it a real hand-painted, hand-dotted, made by a human product, piece of art. Oh, that's a big blob there. That's a big blobber. That's all right. I feel like the more it fills in, the more I can see. What's the nose? What's the eyes? What are the teeth? I think the number one thing I've learned from this project so far is that it's easier to do this type of dotting, this transfer method, and this, filling in method if it's a less complex design or a bigger surface to be working on. If I had made this the entire surface and wasn't going to do a mandala around it, then I feel like this would have been a lot easier to execute. Whereas I'm finding this is really challenging when it's this small to kind of make sure you're getting the definition that you need so that the colors, that's okay. As everything dries, I will continue to add more and more dots of each color. So now we're going to go back to burgundy for a bit before we wrap up for tonight, because we are coming up on the 2-hour mark. And since I didn't get this done in 2 hours, which frankly I didn't expect to, I'm going to return tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to hopefully complete this tomorrow night, because I have something else planned for a live on Thursday. Which is actually going to be a wreath. We're going to do a wreath. Oh, really cool. I'm actually just making those ones bigger now. Why am I doing that? You know what it is that these are already small dots and they're just not, there's not enough room to put bigger dots or more dots around them. So I'm just making them bigger so they take up more real estate. And that really shows them off a bit more. Make that big. Yeah, putting these bigger dots, they're not that much bigger, but they're enough that it's filling in that section really well. So you really get that sense of burgundy. I feel like that's just frustrating right now, because I want these to be a little, it's really a gamble, like a balance. When you're wanting to have a bigger dot, but you don't want it to get too big, the number one thing to focus on is the amount of paint you're putting on your dotting tool and how much of the surface you're allowing your dotting tool that is full of paint to touch the surface of your image. If you want a bigger dot, more paint, more surface area to cover. All right. Yeah, that looks better, doesn't it? Because they're bigger. Okay, I'm just going to finish up adding some more of these bigger burgundy dots. I'm going to make these a bit bigger. I feel like it's needed. All right. I want to do just a little bit more, and then we're going to stop for tonight. Actually, I feel like that's pretty good for there. Okay. I think we're going to pause here for tonight. We've got quite a lot accomplished. So that's it for tonight. I hope you enjoyed dotting with me this evening, and that you'll join me again tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to complete this. Hopefully we can complete it tomorrow. And it'll be another installment in the Spooky Season Live series. Listen, if you're interested in learning a little bit more about dot painting, please have a look at my channel. I've got tons of beginner-friendly tutorials available. And don't forget to subscribe so that we can continue to get crafty together. Toodaloo!